The worsening manifestations of cocaine used by top officials are being swept under the rug by the mainstream media organizations. We are alarmed by a growing culture of government abuse, particularly in selective application of the law, going hard after political opponents while completely disregarding the bigger danger of the country slowly being turned into a narco republic. This has got to stop. There is one question that the faithful is asking in the midst of all this. Where is the church? Indeed, where is the Roman Catholic Church that had been both a beacon of light and a fearless voice in the recent political upheavals of the country? Why is there complete silence on the part of the shepherds of the flock on the biggest scandal of the day, brazen drug use, and in the highest offices of the land? The image of the late Jaime Cardinal Sin calling the faithful to stand up against the unlamented regime of the former president, Ferdinand Marcos, and the disgraced ex-president, Eva Estrada, is still fresh in the minds of the faithful, who were there when it all happened. Sadly, that image is slowly fading in the face of deafening silence of the church, in deepening crisis of the contemporary times. Compromise is never anything but an ignoble truce between the duty of man and the terror of a coward, said former U.S. President Gerald Ford. While we are not yet there as far as the ignoble truce and the terror of a coward is concerned, but we are headed in that direction. The separation of the church and the state has long been a rejected doctrine as far as the Philippines is concerned. The state has routinely intruded into matters of faith and conscience, prompting the church to rise and defend itself against such intrusions. That being the case, there is no more reason for the church to remain silent and disinterested in the face of the biggest crisis the nation is facing: the misfortune of being governed by drug-induced leaders. In the face of this terror, as faithful members of the flock, we call on the leadership of the Roman Catholic Church, particularly the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, to take a categorical and firm stand regarding this and the attendant crisis threatening the nation. This is not just about the present, but more so for the generations to come. To paraphrase Mordecai's words to Esther in the Old Testament, if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Filipinos will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Indeed, the situation is ripe for the nation to rise and confront the evils that threatens our citizens. It is our prayer that you will take your rightful place as shepherds of the flock, so justice and truth will again prevail in our land. The darkest places in hell are reserved for those who maintain their neutrality in times of moral crisis. Wrote Dante Alighieri, no one can say for sure if he is right, but there's no one such thing as neutrality in the face of oppression, persecution, and suffering. This church, specifically the shepherds, must speak up in a time as this, or forever be remembered in history as a fence-sitter when the faithful are being fed to the lions and the fires of hell on earth. Let it not be said that the biggest challenge confronting our generation, the faithful will need to ask the inevitable question, where is the church?
Kung sino ang sumulat dito, sabi niya, hindi si Presidente sumulat niya, si FRRB. Dapat talaga palakpakan niya. Welcome everyone. Intindiary ito Mayor Jun, para sa akin. I'm Archbishop John Ayutu. I'm the founder of the Church Without Walls International. I'm actually gonna ask you, based on New York City for a long time, since 1983 pa ako doon. And yet, ako ang founder ng church sa Pasay City back in 1971, 72, where Apollo Kibuloy used to come. Very close to ni Apollo. At dinala niya ako doon sa Tamayong. Nakita kami. Closer ako doon sa brother nila na si Joe Kibuloy. Ganon. Kasi parehas kami ng faith. Through me din, nag-start ng Jesus Miracle Crusade ng Evangelist Willie Almeida. If you've heard of the Evangelist Willie Almeida. Kayo pumunta sa Talipaw. I married his younger sister, so he's my brother-in-law. And they started in my church in Pasay back in 1972. So I was kind of the one that actually ushered him into the ministry and Jesus Miracle Crusade International Ministry. Kami ni Camsec, we go back no kami ni Dale Cabrera, pero si Dale ay ginawa na ng Lord na unang tatlo sa langit, where I also met Ben Libre, Jose Fiedal. And then I got appointed sa office ni President Duterte the director of Land Bank. I was the one actually that brought China Bank to negotiate with Land Bank. And then Malacanang also offered me to develop the Laguna Lakes. So then I went to Singapore and I have plans with that. Dami ako mga plano para sa Philippines talaga. So, nagpipray ako itong mga nakaraang araw prior to this meeting. The Lord guide us. At disturbed talaga ako ng gusto sa nangyayari sa POJC compound. Lumalabas yung masamang pag-iisip sa akin. Pero pinipigil ko na actually. Marami po ako mga pastor, mga estudyante ko. Dito ngayon si Bishop Antonio de la Cruz. When I was in Land Bank, John Marr was my consultant. Pastor Abner Salamos here. I have many pastors dito. International din yung church namin. Recently, I started a movement called Believers Association for Change. Doon, nakisama kami ni Congressman Pedro Ortiza, si Sean Manuel, isang broadcaster sa kaya andito yung mga tumutulong sa ministry natin, pero si Resty Andrea, si Chris Carido, andito yung mga nag-assist sa atin, si Pastora Lily, member ng church, mula sa church. So, I believe God is choosing me for something, letting me come back to the Philippines. I'm actually want to cry right now. God is touching me. God is moving. So, I don't know, but I'm turning everything to the hands of the Lord. When I heard, Ben texted me that Attorney Victor Rodriguez is going to be one of our speakers. I get so excited. I'm also a writer. I have actually 64 books. Ako yung sumulat ng barangay book, training books. I used to train city hall employees. Kasi I'm out of New York University as a behavioral scientist at New York University. Anyway, thank you so much for coming, and siguro babasahin natin quickly yung mga attendance natin. Kasama yung ating Brother Chris. Yung Maris Ruby De Ocampo. Bonifacio Gamay. Bishop Antonio Boy de la Cruz.
Palakpak.
Restituto Olandrea.
Palakpak.
Ramel Saraus po.
Palakpak.
Jamil Boscaino.
Palakpak.
Si Jamil po ay matagal ko ng estudyante ito. Ito po yung anak ni Boscaino sa Pampanga. Kung naririnig niyo yung commander ng NPA. Estudyante. Albert Pontilla. Ardelina Mortiga. Mayra D. Reyes.
Palakpak.
John Mar Literal.
Palakpak.
Mona Lisa Planas. Pamangkin po yan, apo yan po ni, Carito Planas at dating kaibigan ko rin. Melody Velarde Planas. Larissa Lordy M. Laquiron.
Palakpak.
Belinda Sanuco. Mitchell Allen Radev. Jerry Yanez. Romulo Salcedo.
Palakpak.
Jose Vivita. Rodolfo Berlio Palmahil.
Palakpak.
Lloyd Monday. Victor Rodriguez. Okay. Rinaldo Estrella Operio. Pastor Geraldo Manjares. Johnny Andrade. Siya po ang ating publisher ng ating books. Johnny is also the head of AMI. It's a theological school. Anyway, Attorney Godofredo Aquisa.
Congressman. Author ng 20.
Rose Irene Peña.
Palakpak.
Reverend Marlon Inco. Reverend Lou Lorna Loma. Reverend Edwin P. Loma.
Palakpak.
Bishop Pablo Sabit.
Palakpak.
Maraming wala pong sabit yan. Esther De Leon. Resurrection Manuel.
Dictature.
Warli Marta Jodilia de la Cruz. Loera Tabuna. Sorry, I cannot read the first name. Arthur B. Portilla. Wilfredo Carina. Marilyn Carina. Abner Solano. Lilia Baladim Gatmata. Crisanta Fronteras. Pastora Rustica Nancy Sabet. Danilo A. Sabons Dinalin C. Beatrice. I think so. Thank you so much. Okay?
Yung iba hindi nabasa, pero okay na.
Big Iwayan now. Ivy. All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go now to our speakers. We are so happy that Attorney Vic Rodriguez can be here to talk to us. What a privilege for me, you know. He gave me a book. Nice. I'm going to read that, Attorney Vic. I'm going to learn a lot from that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give honor to this man. You know, I told him, famous man. Hindi na siya famous. Attorney Vic, thank you, Bob.
Good afternoon to all of you, and let me thank you for inviting me this afternoon and welcoming me so warmly dito sa ating ginagawang forum. I think all of you already know why we are here. I think all of you already know from the most basic or fundamental issue that we are confronted today, even to the most complicated, like the South China Sea issue, bordering on foreign policy. But just the same, coming here and in any other forum, I try to make a self-examination. Why am I going to this forum? And in the same manner, I think it's important that you to ask yourself, why are you here? Why are we here? Why are we together? Because we love our country. I think that's a basic agreement why we are gathered together. Why are we here today? Why am I here? Why are you here? Because we love the Filipino people. And most importantly, we love our youth and the generations of Filipino people that are yet to come. That's why we're trying to come into an agreement how to move forward and address the many issues that the country now is confronted with. Hindi maiwasang pag-usapan yung mga advokasya ng hakbang ng maisog. And I'm also sure, alam na ho ninyo yan, yung core principles of hakbang ng maisog. And that is transparency, accountability, peace, and security. Alam ko rin na alam ninyo, nabanggit kanina, na hindi rin natin maiiwasan pag-usapan yung persecution and abuses of the human rights being experienced by our fellow Filipinos there in Davao. Not by the members of the KOJC. Huwag mo nating tahakin yung linyada ng abusadong gobyernong ito, simplifying the numerous human rights abuses happening every day in Davao and being inflicted on our fellow Filipinos. Nagkataon lamang na miyembro sila ng isang religious denomination na ang pangalan ay Kingdom of Jesus Christ. But this matter should not be treated as an isolated incident or an isolated event. Dahil ang respect for humanity is an absolute call for all people to observe. Walang pinipili yung respeto sa humanity. Hindi pwedeng ang re-respetuhin mo lang ay miyembro ng Roman Catholic Church. Aapihin mo yung mga kasapi o miyembro ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Not because I'm part of their church. No. Ako'y Roman Catholic. But it doesn't mean pagkikibit-balikat ko yung pang-aabusong ginagawa ng gobyerno ni Bongbong Marcos sa ating mga kapwa Pilipino. Tingnan natin sila bilang mga Pilipino. Hindi miyembro ng isang religious organization lang. Kagaya ng pinapakalat ng propaganda ng gobyerno. At kahit ano pang relihiyon mo, basta ikaw ay Pilipino, meron kang karapatan, pantay-pantay sa ilalim ng ating saligang batas.
Yes.
At marapat din na malaman ng mga kapulisan na naroroon na sila rin ay saklaw ng ating saligang batas. Hindi rin natin pwedeng hindi pag-usapan yung saligang batas. Pag naririnig nyo ho yung usaping saligang batas, huwag kayong matakot. Hindi po ito exclusive domain o wala pong monopolya ang mga mambabatas o mga abogado lamang pagdating sa usapin ng saligang batas. Lahat ng Pilipino, lahat ng mamamayan, dapat nalalaman ng saligang batas. Huwag nyo na hong basahin yung mga social justice laws, etc. etc. Yung Bill of Rights lang. Yung Bill of Rights lang para alam ninyo yung inyong mga pangunahing karapatan sa ilalim ng ating saligang batas. At hindi porke sila ay miyembro ng isang religious group, mas konti ang kanilang karapatang pantao sa ilalim ng saligang batas. Hindi o, pantay-pantay. Pati yung pulis na ng aapi, doon sa mga tao doon, saklaw po sila ng saligang batas. Sinasabi nung iba, sumusunod lang yan sa kanilang mga opisyal. Tama. Pero ang sinasabi ng saligang batas, at nung sila ay nanumpa bago sila maging pulis, sundin nyo yung lawful orders lamang. Pag sa tingin ninyong ito'y labag na sa batas, huwag nyo sundin. At kitang-kita naman na yung pagmamalagis na ginagawa ng mga kapulisan na sumasahod galing sa buwis na nanggagaling sa ating mamamayang Pilipino, patuloy lang yung kanilang pananakit, pananakot at pagmamalabis. And this is very important, not because, again, we have to support members of the KOJC. No. This should serve as a wake-up call for all of us gathered here today. Sinusubukan lang nila ang magiging reaksyon ng mga Pilipino. Pag hinayaan natin ito, itutuloy-tuloy nila yung pang-aabusong ginagawa nila dahil ang kanilang natatangi at nag-iisang layunin ay hindi mapaunlad at mapabuti ang buhay ng bawat Pilipino kung hindi manatili sa poder, manatili sa kapangyarihan habang buhay yung kanilang mga kaibigan, kanilang kaanak at kanilang angkan. Huwag ho tayong pumayag. And we go back again to the very essence of why are we here. Ba't nyo sinasayang ang oras ninyo ngayong hapon? Makikinig sa akin, makikinig kay Manong Joe, magpapalitan ng puro-puro. I'm sure of this. You are here because you love our country.
Yes.
You are here because you love our fellow Filipinos. But this, I have to ask you again. Because ito, ayoko mag-assume. Hindi ako sigurado. Kaya ayoko sumagot para sa inyo. Pero sa pakiwari ko lang, kaya kayo naririto, ngayong hapon, kasama ni Capsec Juni Basco, pinagbigyan nyo kami ng oras, dahil handa na kayong manindigan.
Yes.
And I would like to believe that all of you are here today because all of us here, are now ready to make a stand and to make known our stand. Yung usapin po ng transparency and accountability, kinakailangan ibalik ho natin sa napakaraming problema ng ating bansa. Huwag natin masyadong pagtuunan yung mga telenovela nilang drama tungkol kay Alice Go. Alice Go, kung nagkasala, kasuhan mo, tapos. Bakit kailangan pag-iimbestiga Senado? What is there to investigate? You have been investigating her for what, 3 months? Pero, yung ninakaw nilang kalahat, 500 billion pesos na sinasabing 5,500 flood control program, ayaw nilang pag-usapan. Ninoloko nila tayo mga Pilipino. Binibigyan ng telenovela, telenovelang istorya na patungkol doon sa pogo ni Alice Go. Bakit hindi natin pag-usapan itong pesting dulot ng baha na umulan lang ng kaunti, may bagyo sa bayan ni Habagat, yung buhay ng mga tao are always disrupted. Kamakailan lamang yung Typhoon Karina, sinabayan ng Habagat. Bumaha ang malaking bahagi ng Luzon at ang malaking bahagi o hindi man buong Metro Manila. Tulong tayo sa ating mga nasa kunang kababayan. After 1 month, or more than a month, ito lamang, buong linggong to, Monday to Wednesday, nagdeklara na walang pasok. Bakit? Baha na naman ang usapin. Pero hindi pinag-uusapan. Mainstream media, wala na yan. Wala na yan. Ang mainstream media, ang kanilang mga balita ay dictated by their vested interest. At pasalamat tayo sa ating mga kasama sa social media. Ang dami ngayon nagko-cover sa atin. Without social media, hindi lalabas yung katotohanan na ginagawa sa atin, na panlulokong ginagawa ng administrasyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Balikan natin paulit-ulit yung flood control programs. Hindi ho maliit na pera yan. 500 billion pesos in 2 years. And let's relate that 500 billion pesos. In 2 years, na meron tayong gobyerno na walang pakialam sa Pilipino, ang ating utang, national debt, ay almost $16 trillion na. And when he assumed as president, of which I was part of the initial days of this administration, ang national debt natin is around $12 trillion. 2 taon pa lang, nadagdagan na ng higit kumulang na $4 na trilyong dolyar. 2 taon. So kung i-average mo, every 2 years, uutang to ng $2 trillion. Pagbaba nito, ang utang nito ay $12 trillion. Doblado nung inabutan niya. And yet, wala tayong marinig na paliwanag kung nasaan ang pera ng bawat Pilipino. Huwag natin silang tigilan diyan sa paniningil natin kung nasaan yung 500 billion flood control programs. Why? Apektado tayong lahat. Parang pandemic na rin ito. tuwing uulan, babaha, walang klase, walang trabaho, babahain yung ating mga kababayan. Tumutulong tayo. Pero tanungin ho ninyo yung mga nasasalanta ng bagyo. Sapat ba yung nagpapadala kami ng bigas, delata, noodle, bagong damit o used clothing? And after humupa ang tubig, maglilinis sila ng bahay. Sisimulan uli nila yung kanilang buhay. Another baha na naman ang darating. It has become a cycle. Ito ba ang standard ng buhay at pamumuhay na ginusto natin? Kung ang sagot ninyo ay no, we deserve better. We deserve more. That is why naniningil tayo kay Bongbong Marcos saan mo dinala yung 500 billion pesos na hinayabang mong 5,500 flood control program. Yung accountability, pag-usapan pa rin natin ang pera ng bansa. Ngayong taon, 5.7 trillion pesos ang budget ng gobyerno. 5.7 trillion pesos. 800 billion, but I was corrected the other day, yesterday, may kausap ako. No, it's not 800 billion, yung unprogrammed appropriations, yung pork barrel nila. It's 1.2 trillion pesos. Hindi rin nila pinapaliwanag saan mapupunta o saan napunta. Because today, it's already September, the 9th month of the year. Patapos na ho tayo, papasok na tayo sa last quarter. Malamang sa hindi, allocated, allotted, at baka na-release na yung karamihan sa pondong yan. Nasaan yung 800 billion pesos o 1.2 trillion pesos na yan? Saan nyo ginastos? Paano nyo ginastos? Bakit hindi nila maipakita sa atin yung matagal na natin hinihiling sa kanila? Ipakita ninyo kung kaninong kongresista o senador napunta o naghati-hati sila doon sa 500 billion flood control programs. Ipakita ninyo yung listahan ng mga congressman at senador. Ipakita nyo rin yung listahan ng mga kontratistang nakinabang sa 500 billion pesos na yan para sila'y singilin nating mga taong bayan. Dahil kung hindi, paulit-ulit mangyayari itong malapeste ng baha, istorya ng baha. Huwag ho tayong makontento dahil hindi yan ang standard. We deserve more, we deserve better, that's why we demand for accountability. Hindi ho libre yan. Yang perang yan, iniutang, babayaran po yan ng ating mga kaapo-apuhan. Hindi ho nila pera yan. And we cannot be indifferent. Hindi tayo pwedeng walang pakialam. Hindi tayo pwedeng walang pakialam. And then of course, nandiyan po yung usapin ng peace and security. Masalimuot pero alam kong alam ninyo, yung usapin ng South China Sea. Mayroong mga multiple claimants dyan sa mga rock features or islets or islands sa South China Sea. Subalit, yung Taiwan, yung Malaysia, yung Japan, yung Vietnam, hindi sila nakikipagdigma o hindi nila tinatratong kalaban ng China. Hindi dahil ako'y pro-China. Ulitin ko, I'm pro-Filipino, I love the Philippines. Kaya lang, agenda pa ba ng Pilipino sakaling sumabog ang armadong digmaan sa China? Hindi natin interest yun. Interest yun ng ating alyadong Amerikano. Hindi ho natin interest yun. It's an economic issue between China and the USA. Habang bising kakadigma ang Estados Unidos, habang bising ng gugulo sa mga tinatawag ng democratic country, habang busy silang ilinalako at ibinibenta yung kanila mga war materials, missiles, tanke, what have you. Dinedevelop ng China yung kanilang ekonomiya, yung kanilang technology. Kaya talong-talo yung Amerika when it comes to electric vehicle, yung battery ng mga EVs, at yung mga solar panels. Ano sagot ng US? trade sanction. Bawal yan, bawal yan, bawal. Dahil talo na ho sila eh. Ang alam lang na ekonomiya ng US ay maggera at manggulo. At ginagawa sa atin ito. Importanteng pag-usapan natin, importanteng malaman ninyo, dahil lagi kong sinasabi, itong napipintong gera, mas madali nating pigilan kung tututol na tayo at ipapahayag natin ang ating pagtutol ngayon pa lamang. Dahil ulitin ko, pag yan nagsimula, hindi natin maaawat yan. Take the case of Ukraine. Maraming pumapapel na peacemaker, hindi madaling mapigil yan. Papasok na yung amore. Magbibilangan na kayo. Ilang building na sinira mo sa akin. Ilang mamamayang ko na ang pinatay mo. Ilang kababaihan at kabataan na ang namatay. Hindi madaling awatin yan. Maybe sasabihin na iba, Ukraine is an isolated case. No. Let's take the case of the war between the Israel and the Hamas. Ang dami na rin gustong igilin na natin yan, ilang biyahe na, yung matataas na opisyal ng US, hindi madali. Bakit? Nagbibilangan na sila, magbibilangan na sila. Magkano na ang cost nito everyday sa aming ekonomiya, ang dami nang namatay. And it's important that we talk about this now. At pagbalik ninyo sa inyong sarili-sariling pamayanan, pag-usapan din ninyo, sapagkat bukod sa hindi natin interes ang gera, let me remind all of you, ano itsura natin nung COVID pandemic, nung kasagsagan. Wala lang ang ospital na tumatanggap ng mga tinamaan ng COVID. Nakahilera na sa labas yung mga pasyente, yung mga nangamatay, nagkalat na rin body bags na sa labas ng lahat ng mga pulinarya. COVID pa lang yan. Ano pa kaya ang isang armadong digmaan? Saan mo ilalagay ang mga sugatan? The usual. Evacuation center, temporary medical shelter, ang mga eskwelahan. Pagka linagay mo sa eskwelahan, tigil ang eskwela, walang pasok ang mga bata, and God knows how long. And if this runs for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, magkakaroon tayo ng mga kabataan at henerasyon na salat sa kaalaman kung hindi man mga mangmang. Interes ba ng Pilipino? Nakakagalit sapagkat nagpapagamit ang kasalukuyang administrasyon. In fact, tila isinukuna yung ating sovereignty sa mga Amerikano. They are here, they're back. On paper, on document, there are 9 U.S. military bases all over the country. 9 U.S. military bases. And this is no fake news. I say U.S. military bases inside Philippine military bases. Ultimo tayo, walang access doon sa teritoryo nila, sa loob ng ating mga kampo. Bawal ang Pilipinong pumasok doon. Kung bawal ang Pilipino pumasok sa sarili niyang military base, kanino yun? Sa Estados Unidos. That's why it's U.S. military base. Hindi natin interest. Ginagamit tayo at nagpapagamit naman ang kasalukuyang administrasyon. Again, because gusto nila mapanatili yung kanilang sarili at pamilyang angkan sa pwesto beyond the 6-year term kung saan sila ay nahalal at naaayon sa ating saligang batas. Huwag natin payagan ito. And there are many, many more issues. Because of the flawed foreign policy of this administration, it has brought every Filipino, not just you, not just me, every Filipino into harm's way. Andiyan na tayo. Andiyan na tayo. Pag hindi naawat ito, damay-damay tayo. And what will they do? They will just pack. Baka isang bag lang yan, sasakay lang ng private jet. Bala muna kayo dyan, alis kami. It is not our interest to engage into a full-blown war. Our giant and nuclear-capable neighbor, China. It doesn't mean susuko natin kung ano yung atin sa China. But ang reality is, wala tayong kakayahang makipagdigmaan. That's why ang pakiusap ng hakbang maisog sa gobyernong ito, pakinggan nyo naman ang taong bayan. You have to diffuse the tension. You have to de-escalate the tension. Because that's the only weapon or that's the only tool that we have. The other option is, gera na. Wala na tayong kakayahan, matatalo tayo. Makipag-usap muna tayo. Huwag nating dalin yung buong bayan sa bingit ng digmaan laban sa China. These are all important issues. Transparency, accountability, peace, and security. But of course, I think I will be doing you a disservice if I will be the one talking here alone, lengthily. I think the better part of what we're doing now, later, is the open forum. So we can also hear from you what your thoughts are and ano ang inyong kahandaan at kung kayo ay talagang handa na manindigan at iparinig ang ating kolektibong tinig. Tigilan itong kasiraang ulong ginagawa ng administrasyon ito. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat ating paboritong Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Palakpak ulit. Announcement lang po. Sino pong hindi pa nakakain? Makakain din po kayo mamaya. Pero huwag kayong mag-keep quiet. Pag hindi ka nakain, lapit kayo sa akin, okay?
I'm going to ask Attorney Fred Arquesa to join us here. Attorney Fred, dito ka sa harap po. Panel. Ang panelist po natin ay si Bishop Edwin Manite, Bishop Attorney Godofredo Arquesa, Bishop De La Cruz, at si Pastor John Mario. Lakpakan po natin sila. Thank you po, Attorney Vic, dahil sa talaga naman. Gusto mo magalit na Attorney Vic eh. Pero may super minds kasi tayo. Ngayon po ay hindi na tayo magtatagal. Tawagin po natin si Kamsek, former Council June Basso. My personal good friend from Bohol. I always call him Mayor June. Umpisa pa kami ni Dale Cabrera. Siya po pala ang founder ng Maiso.
Salamat, Archbishop John Ayutthong. Kaibigan ko si Archbishop since 2016. Kasi aktibo si Archbishop na nagsuporta during the campaign for presidency si President Duterte. I understand this is a gathering of religious leaders at a very crucial time in our history. So, sa lahat na nandito ngayon, magandang hapon. At salamat din ako na nabigyan kaming pagkakataon na makipag-usap sa inyo. Anyway, lahat naman nabanggit ang usapan ni Attorney Vic yung problema na hinarap natin ngayon. Pero yung sa akin lang, it's because we are religious leaders leading our respective flock. I have observed that there is silence among church organizations and congregations in our country. It may be because during the time of martial law, the church was very much into the campaign against martial law. In fact, so many of the priests, and in fact there are so many bishops who have been imprisoned. And in fact there is one priest, or there was one priest in Cebu who until now is missing, Father Manuel. Many priests also were imprisoned and tortured. In fact, there was one from Leyte who was tortured inside prison, but when he was released, He died as a result of the torture. There were also nuns. There were so many pastors from different denominations who participated in the anti-Marcos campaign during the martial law. But unfortunately, when Duterte came in as president, he exposed the hypocrisy of the Catholic Church, particularly among bishops and priests. There was no mention, because President Duterte is not so conversant with the way other congregations and denominations are being managed. But based on his experience, he was so mad at what the Catholic Church, the priests and the bishops were doing in our society, tinkering on political life, and yet they were so silent in their secret enclaves in the rooms. That was what Duterte was doing. You know, there were attempts to change our constitution, but because of the church, it was not moved towards its successful conclusion, because the church stood as an obstacle to such move. Whether it was good or not, I don't know. There were so many moves on the part of government. If the Catholic Church does not like or did not like, it will not move, because the government or the administration at the time were afraid to cross path with the Catholic Church. That's why with that background, Duterte was hitting the Catholic Church. And precisely because of that, the Catholic Church is so silent now. They were so anti-Marcos, they were the anti-martial law struggle, and they were so mad at Duterte when Duterte was the president in our country. That's why he opted to keep silent. I am addressing this to all denominations, including and particularly the Catholic Church, that let it not be said at the end of the day that church people have been silent in the face of oppression, in the face of suppressions of rights, in the face of difficulty and pain among our people right now. Let it not be said that the Catholic Church and other church people or religious leaders are silent just because they would want to be convenient in between Marcos and Duterte. The struggle is not between Marcos and Duterte. The struggle is between this administration against the Filipino people. This administration that has failed to respond to the basic needs of our people. What they did for the past 2 days in Davao, they were distributing loads of money. They flooded Davao with money to 250,000 people coming from Davao City and the neighboring provinces of Davao City. They flooded Davao with money. Davao was awash with money, food stuff, money for scholarship of students. While on one end, Typhoon Enteng ravaged Metro Manila and many parts of Central Luzon. Was there an administration agency distributing food, distributing money to victims of calamity? Wala. Unfortunately, for so many of the areas in Metro Manila, it was the office of the Vice President who did the distribution of foodstuffs. While Martin Romualdez and all the congressmen, there were more than 200 congressmen and senators who were present there for 2 days, September 4 and 5. Happy that they were distributing money that they did not own or they do not own Money is supposed to go and help people, especially in times of distress and in times of calamity. Kaya, hindi ito away ni Duterte at si Marcos. It has something to do with this administration failing to respond to the clamor of the farmers for assistance. Alam mo ngayon, walang assistance sa farmers. So there is no systematic production of foodstuffs in our country because this administration, in cahoots with big traders and suppliers, opted to import what we need in our country. From rice to itlog, manok, baboy from outside because they earn so much while our farmers are suffering. You know, if our farmers also will go into production, paano? Ang cost of production is so high. Fertilizer, insecticide, lahat. Labor, mahal. That at the end of the day, kung mayroon na silang produkto, it is sold at 12 pesos per kilo. Paano? So yung mga farmers na lang will just go for labor jobs. Doon na lang sila sa construction. So wala nang maiwan doon sa ating mga farmlands to produce what we need to eat. So ito yung problema ngayon. So I am happy with this initiative coming from you, religious leaders, coming from other denominations in our country. Because I know that you are not comfortable. I know you're not comfortable in your conscience that what you are doing right now might not be in consonance with, might not be enough to respond to the sufferings of our people now. So, again, I would rather leave so much time for you to discuss on what you can do, on what we can do. Maisog as a social movement is a movement of so many organizations journeying in parallel lines towards a common objective. So, nandito yung religious organizations, civic organizations, cooperatives, journeying in parallel lines towards the direction na makamit natin ang isang administrasyon that has the heart and the mind to serve our people now. How will you consider this government led by a drug-dependent couple? How can they come up with decisions, especially in times of very crucial problems confronting our country? Paano na? Kung bangag ka, how can you think well? How can you balance the pros and cons in coming out with a decision that will be beneficial to the Filipino people? Paano yan? So, I would rather leave so much of your time to discuss what you can do, what we can do as people journeying towards a better and good Philippines. Thank you.
Isang palakpak pa po kay Father Gulli Basco. Announcement ulit, yung mga hindi pa nakakain, please mag-request kayo, baka gutom na po kayo.
Yung hindi po nakakain, mamaya, matatapos na tayo, ay doon na lang kayo umupo sa tapos mag-request kayo doon. Sama na po dito sa bill. Hindi po kayo magbabayad. Isa na pong bill yun. Okay? Nag-request na kayo ng drinks. Palakpakan po natin si Mayor June Basco. At mukhang talaga namang